And look at that. Karma, right out the gate, said, yep, got my hot pink on. Who's got your pink on? It is hump day. And what do the mean girls do on hump day? We wear our pink and we say it proud, loud and proud. Now I'm going to complain about the weather for a minute. When's it going to make its mind up? Is it winter or spring? Because we have the heat on and a light jacket in the morning. And then at noon, I got to open the windows. Trying to get after DT Driver right now to put a storm door up for me. So I can just open the back door. Got the storm door. We can feel the breeze. Don't have to worry about OJ getting in the backyard. Have a feeling that's going to be an April project. Exactly, Virginia. The birds are nesting, then it's cold. You just had your food. Get back in there. I know what you're about to do. I have to say no to my kitty. I say no to my kitty right now. Virginia said the birds don't even fly south anymore. For real. Oh, V. Oakley. Look at you, hot stuff. Pink panties. And he's up here. Okay, I've got to move this stuff before he knocks it down. It's gonna be one of those days. Well, let's just take a second and tell everyone. Well, first let's say hi to Mike, because it is hump day and we are almost to the weekend.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
We know that feeling. It's hump day. It's like, can I please get through the next 2 days so I can just seriously decompress from the week? But we got to wear our pink. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Junebug's getting rain today. That's kind of a dangerous thing in Arizona, I've heard. Yeah, Stephanie was saying it. She's from your neck of the woods. So we know we can all sit together. There's some that can't. There's some that have tried. One that has not a snowball's chance in hell is Lazy Simon. One of her new recordings, and there's a few. We know she's been in jail for a very long time, and she's been in prison for a couple of months. She's not liking the new prison digs. I'm not quite sure how the ladies there are treating her, knowing what she did to Quentin. Again, this isn't alleged anymore. We don't have to say, in my opinion. The gavel came down and she was told, you are guilty. You are guilty. A jury of your peers, unbiased, don't know your ass, not in a Facebook group, they don't follow YouTube, barely heard about the case, said, home skillet, you're guilty. Now, they were on the fence about the insanity, because in Georgia, they do something insane but still guilty. They were on the fence about that. That would have given her, from what I read, you can do your own research, a little bit of extra protection. Well, she didn't get it. Oh, no. Just like Megan Boswell. We saw that picture of her getting checked in to the prison in Nashville. She looked like somebody had just given her a sour persimmon. She was so pissed. She knows what she's walking into. Nani, beautiful avatar. And she said, I've got my pink on. Do you? Member for 28 months. Before we get to her phone calls, let's just do a little recap to go through her guilt for those that are still on the fence.
Circumstances of her arrest, where and when it happened?
We know she was picked up from her home and taken to the Chatham County Detention Center. That happened just as they were making that arrest or making that announcement on yesterday. They told us that they didn't want anyone to have any exclusives in this case. They would release this to every affiliate here in Savannah at the same time. And they kept their word to that. I can tell you that they called the news directors and they gave us a heads up that there was an announcement coming. They made that announcement. And we know that she was quickly booked into the Chatham County Jail. She was supposed to have a bond hearing.
Well, she did have a bond hearing, and they said, we're not going to handle that in this court, so you can just sit your ass in jail. She's arrested at home with probable cause. Guilty as charged is exactly what happened.
And we believe that this was the right move today to be able to do that. She doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving, quite frankly, if I can go off script a little bit. Quentin deserves that.
The chief even said, which was something we normally don't hear Chief say, because he knows the evidence. He knows what they had been working on. And this case will haunt the chief and his detectives for a very long time. By the way, they were very appreciative of the food that we sent to Chatham County. They absolutely were. Rexy said that fence fell down a long time ago. Yeah, nothing to argue there. She was found guilty. But this is what, we're going to go back in time a little bit. What she said she would do if found guilty. Well, that's not what she's been doing. Oh no, my friends.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for the News at 6. I'm Dawn Baker. In a WTOC exclusive, Leilani Simon, the mother of missing Chatham County toddler Quentin.
I think this news anchor here, this Dawn Butler, I think that's what she says her name is cute as can be. I love those little ruffles and everything on her suit. She is just, and she's got a little Quentin bracelet on. Is she not the sweetest thing?
Simon is speaking out tonight for the very first time since he was reported missing nearly 3 weeks ago. Chatham County Police and the FBI believe Quentin is dead and are actively searching a local landfill for his remains. Police say Leilani.
Good call. I was arguing with people when this was going on, and they said, well, he could still be alive. Listen, we can always hold out hope. Always, always, always. But when they're going through a damn landfill, looking like a bunch of outer space people, it's safe to say they're not looking for a live Quentin to be running around the landfill. No.
Is the only suspect in his disappearance as well as his death. And tonight we have team coverage with our Shay Schrader and investigative reporter Max Dieknike. We begin with Shay, who joins us live outside of the Simon home. Shay, what did she talk to you about?
Leilani and I spoke about a number of things, including what she remembers from the morning she first reported Quentin missing to what life has been like as the days have gone on, still with no sign of Quentin. I talked to Leilani as well as her mother, Billie Howell, who were both just distraught over Quentin's disappearance. They say they've been harassed in the days and weeks since Quentin disappeared, but Leilani wants everybody to know that she's not running away.
I'm here. I've been here every.
I'm here. I've been here. I've been here right in front of the garage giving my exclusive interview. WTOC. There's Billie looking at her. Who in here is mad that Billie has never been charged with child endangerment or anything? To be quite honest, if it wasn't for this document right here, I wouldn't be upset about it. But when they removed Zane from Billie's custody and said, because she left Quentin with Leilani, and it says, by leaving the child Zane in the home in the care of the mother, a person the maternal grandmother knew or should have known was unfit to provide proper care while the maternal grandmother traveled out of state. Honestly, if it wasn't for this article, I wouldn't be so hard on her. That is a legal document, my friends. And we have another case of enabling where she knows what's going on. She knew exactly what was going on. But there's always some slim chance that the justice system is going to work against Quentin and for Leilani, and they can just get back to their sad ass lives. And that's what Billie was hoping for. She says it in this interview. We just hope he's not found in that landfill. Asterisk, we just hope he's not found. Because in their minds, if they don't have Quentin, they don't have a case.
3 days since this, I am not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
If I hadn't thought, I will take myself to that police station. Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it. Look at this.
Circumstances of her arrest, where and when it happened?
We know she was picked up from her home and taken to the Chatham County Detention Center. That happened just as they were making that arrest or making that announcement on yesterday. They told us that they didn't want anyone to have any exclusives in this case. They would release this to every affiliate here in Savannah at the same time. And they kept their word to that. I can tell you that they called the news directors and they gave us a heads up that there was an announcement coming. They made that announcement. And we know that she was quickly booked into the Chatham County Jail. She was supposed to have a bond here.
And you guys are already all over it. Paper Slut said, and the cops still had to pick her up. Baby Kisses said, but she didn't. Junebug said, they both knew exactly where he was. I've always wondered about that private phone call that she made when she was driving around with Quentin. Who was she getting advice from? They didn't bring it up too much in court. They did mention it. Brandon, welcome back. We've missed you. She did the crime. She needs to accept her 40 to life sentence. I believe they made a deal with Billie from the onset. She was working for the state to not be charged. That could be. That's the reason she only got that 10 days. She didn't even testify. Nope.
Chatham County Police have repeatedly said that
and that is just like Billie, that she would make a deal to save her own ass as opposed to Quentin's.
though they've named Leilani the prime suspect in her son's disappearance and death, they don't believe she's a flight risk. Leilani says that she and her mother, Billie Howell, spend their days in the backyard of their home because it's too difficult to be inside with reminders of Quentin and the fact that he's gone.
Every day that goes by is less tears and more anger, not knowing what's happening, if that's even understandable. You wake up every day angry, hoping that you're going to get a phone call, and that phone call just doesn't come.
CCPD and the FBI haven't released many details in the case.
She goes, and that phone call doesn't come. You don't want the phone call to come because that phone call is going to be, we found Quentin. Now you're going to jail. No more barbecues, Disney music, Billy Joel music, vodka, cocaine, and parties in the yard. You don't get that no more. And when I saw Lazy sitting in that front yard screaming justice for Quentin, I about threw the laptop out the window. I was so mad.
And haven't said why they believe Quentin is in a landfill. Police say they're doing that to preserve any potential court cases down the line. Leilani and Billie tell me that they get their new information about the case from watching the news and that they feel all they can do now is hope.
We want something great to come out of this, but mostly we want him not to be found in that landfill.
I've said it a million times. Today's 1,000,001. I know some people say that I just keep harping on this case. Well, it makes me so mad. Look at these two sacks. Look at them. Listen to Billie. I'm going to turn the closed captions on. Listen to what she says. Not what she's trying to say, but what she truly says.
Something great to come out of this, but mostly we want him not to be found in that landfill. We want him found happy and alive.
Yeah, Leilani had to finish her sentence. It's a good thing. I mean, they're kind of frickin' frack, if you want to know the truth.
We want him back in our arms, holding us. That's what we want. We're just hoping that he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him, and we're hoping that, maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior. But it's not. That's their best hopes at this point.
Chatham County Police say they have no reason to believe that Quentin was abducted or kidnapped, and they have evidence that suggests he was placed in a dumpster and that his remains are in the landfill that they're currently searching. Leilani signed.
And now that everything is said and done, we know that everything that law enforcement, what little bit they said, was correct. That's why I have real issues with some dodos on the internet that they get their mind made up about something and they ignore what law enforcement says. I don't know why they do it. I will never understand why they do it, but they do. They continue to. Not everything is bad police work. Not everything is corruption. Not everything is a made for Netflix case. Sorry, it's not. So when they say we're still working on it, they're still working on it. I think one of the most harmful cases, one that's very close to my heart, is when the mob mentality ignored and ignored and ignored what law enforcement was saying about the Michael Vaughn case, that he was abducted. People wouldn't buy it because they can't wrap their mind around it, a lot of these people, okay? And if you follow true crime, and I know you all do, you see a lot of the same people, and they always jump to the same thing, do they not? Every time. Well, people didn't really back off until the police said the family is not a focus of this investigation. Then a few months later, they announced 4 suspects. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Well, then they really back off. Some won't. Then we have the Sebastian Rogers case. Law enforcement is saying, we don't have any evidence of a crime. But they're going to fillet this family until somebody makes up something to make them feel better about what they think. Hey, I don't make the rules and I don't work for law enforcement. But we know what happened here. And then we're going to get to her complaining.
Returning to the place.
That's another one, baby kisses. Yep, little baby Dane. He was found, what was it, yesterday? That very, very brave diver, I don't know how he did it. Took him quite a while, and he found little baby Dane. And there was a lot of people that were ready to hang that mom up by her toenails. And I was just like, woo, hold on. This looks like the little fella got out of his yard and went to exploring. Okay? And that's what happened.
Where investigators say Leilani Simon put her son's body in a dumpster.
We're in the neighborhood before Chatham County Police announced they found Quentin's body, and people living there weren't ready to talk then, but some opening up today. Our Shay Schrader joins us live from the Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. And Shay, what did people near there tell you today?
Well, first off, we know that investigators think that Leilani went from her home on Buckhalter Road in the early hours of October 5th and came here to the Azalea Mobile Home Park, which is just 2 miles away from her home, to put her son's body in a dumpster. People that live around here had their suspicions for quite some time, saying that after Quentin was first reported missing, police showed up in large numbers, searching dumpsters, pulling security camera footage, and just generally looking for any evidence they could find.
Okay, so in less than 24 hours, they are already at the trailer park. Looking for footage about the dumpster. Angela said, Pen Pal, you have jail call links. We're getting to that, hon, but no, I'm not Lazy's Pen Pal. Hell no. They wouldn't allow my letter to go through their mail scanning process. No.
I live in the trailer, the next trailer on the next road over, same side as this. And I came home that morning from delivering newspapers, and I saw some vehicles parked here.
Cars he says he wasn't used to seeing, parked outside of his tenant's trailer. He says he went over to see what was going on.
GBI and FBI agents here. There was 2 vehicles parked here, and they were waiting for the manager to come down. She called me and asked me if I could take the camera off up here. If you look above the window, you'll see the mount is still up there from where the camera was at, and it was pointed toward the trash cans.
Bowman says the police were asking everyone in the area if they had cameras on their homes and were going through the dumpsters repeatedly. He says they stayed for around a week and talked to him as well as other people multiple.
Sorry, Angela, I misunderstood. She said, no, someone in comments said she had a pen pal. She got several. She's got a guy who is a registered RSO that talks to her when he's in line at Dunkin' Donuts that keeps money on her books. Gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. Tell you what, you want to throw money away, get a traffic ticket. Don't send it to Lie Lazy. Damn.
Everyone in the area if they had cameras on their homes and were going through the dumpsters repeatedly. He says they stayed for around a week and talked to him as well as other people multiple times.
It was mainly just questions if I had seen anybody around the dumpsters, if I'd seen any strange cars, any strange people walking around. That was I'd say 90 to 95% of the questions that they ask.
The police presence, Bowman says, was very unusual. Though the police wouldn't say what they were there for, people living here had their suspicions. And now that Leilani has been indicted, Bowman says he's relieved to know that the search efforts were successful.
I hope they find out really and truly what happened, because if she did do that, she doesn't deserve to be out with anybody else. She deserves to be behind bars. That's just, I'm sorry, you just don't do that to a child.
Nope, kids don't belong in the trash. We know from the trial that she drove around for quite a while trying to figure out on her own what to do with Quentin, who she knew was injured. She knew. You know that she went to the convenience store, got a couple of tall boys, drove around some more. She kept telling Danny that she was going to get some drugs. She's not liking prison.
The Georgia landfill, little Quentin Simon. Well, his mom, Leilani Simon, gave an interview to the New York Post. She did it by way of email, or jail email, charged with the murder of little Quentin, 20 months old at the time of his death. And Leilani's complaining about the privileges that she doesn't have that other inmates do, saying they feed us dinner at 3 or 4 p.m. We go to bed hungry. We have snacks in another unit. The recreation yard is a concrete box with a concrete ceiling. She says, I'm going to be here. I'd like to be treated, if I'm going to be here, rather, I'd like to be treated like any other PC, protective custody, inmate who gets all the privileges the way they're meant to.
Okay, so boo-hoo. This is when she was in county. She said this to the New York Post. The rec yard is in a concrete box with a concrete ceiling. If I'm going to be here, I'd like to be treated like any other PC who gets all the privileges they're meant to. Meaning she wants the snacky snacks. She wants everyone to turn their light off at a certain time so she can get her R&R. Well, now she's in the big house to where it is noisy. Everybody's on their own. And you better make some friends, because where she's at, we did a whole show about it. There's a lot of gangs in there. And I'm talking about the gangs we see on TV. I'm not talking about no Miami Vice shit. Okay? I'm talking about women. Women. That could be in there for rugs. Could be in there for a lot of things that are missing their babies. So to have her in there for, not allegedly, not an opinion, killing little Quentin Simon, as the forensic expert, one of the many that was on trial, said, the healing of the bones showed that he was still alive when he went in that dumpster. She had time to save him. How many medical centers did she pass on the way to that dumpster? We know there was a hospital right there. We know she knows how to use a phone because she's always sending pictures of her twat to any dude that wants to sniff her. So we know she knows how to use a phone, but she didn't dial 911. Searchers found remains at the landfill on Friday, police said. Autopsy is now underway to determine whether the remains belong to Quentin. The working conditions were grueling and hazardous, and search crews knew that the chances of finding Quentin were low. Police said in a statement, historically, the FBI says landfill searches are only successful 5% of the time. That was God, my friends. Whether you believe in him or not, that's all it could be. Exactly, Wanda. She knows how to use a phone, but she didn't call 911. Could you imagine the buttload of pictures they got when they got to that phone?
Oh, boo-hoo, Leilani Simon. Facing these charges, accused of murdering her little baby and dumping him in the trash. I wonder this morning, is anyone feeling sorry for Ms. Simon? Let's bring in our power panel. I'm sure they've got a lot to say about this. Claudia King, let me start with you, please.
I'm not feeling sorry for her at all. You said it perfectly earlier. Jail is not supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a place that any of us want to be. And there's one.
Now remember, she was saying her rights were violated because she wasn't getting the PC privileges, protective custody she was supposed to. I have lost zero sleep over this, my friends. I have lost zero sleep over her not getting her PC privileges. Now, if what I read was correct on the inmate roster, she's in Gen Pop. Little different story for La Lazy.
Unclear way to avoid being there, and that is by not committing a crime. So I don't feel sorry for her. And the key word that she even used in her interview by email, by the way, is, that these are things that are not rights. These are privileges. So these are not things that she's entitled to. I'm so sorry she doesn't have her colored pencils. I'm so sorry that she doesn't have enough TV time, but she's not in the landfill. So I think she ought to be pretty grateful for that.
I don't know who this chick is in yellow, but she can sit with us. If I find out who she is, I'm going to send her one of our signature. We wear pink on Wednesday's t-shirt. Ignore the model. That's me. That's the t-shirt. Because like she said, she's not in a landfill, so she should be pretty damn happy with any little thing she gets. She can sit right next to Susan. I'm telling you.
Exactly, Claudia. Thank you for that. I want to show you all a clip of what Leilani Simon told WTOC TV station. This was back in 2022, and this was when little baby Quentin was still considered missing.
I'm here. I've been here every day since this. I am not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Oh, she made it to the police station, all right. Lieutenant Gould, what do you think about her crying, saying she wasn't running? Your thoughts?
Well, she can be a sociopath that truly don't believe that she did anything wrong. Early on in my career, I worked in the late 70s in a maximum security state prison full of convicted felons. And one thing 90% of them had in common, they were not guilty of anything. The prosecutor did it, the judge did it, the husband, the boyfriend, whatever it was, no one was guilty. And they truly believed that. For the most part, they actually believe that. So right now, she should be doing interviews. She's not getting any sympathy or empathy from me. And so why she's even doing that, regardless of how she thinks. And if she does believe she didn't do anything, she has to know the public certainly thinks she did.
Exactly. I'm so appreciative of you sharing that, Mike. You get a lot of people in denial in the criminal justice system, don't you? Melba Pearson, want to give you the last word on this, please. We know that little baby went missing from his playpen in mom's home. Do you think anybody has any sympathy?
Nope. We know now. Nobody took him from the playpen. Too bad they didn't, because that playpen was disgusting. It had fresh vomit in it. It had Cheeto stains all around, because that playpen was Quentin's babysitter when he was with his mother. He would sit there, she would feed him in that playpen like it was some kind of hog trough. Okay? We saw how nasty it was. We saw how nasty that room was, even though Billie knew not to let her around Zane and Quentin. I think the only truth Lila Lazy ever told is when she said, my mom said, we'll just sign the paperwork and things will just stay as it is. So when people say the system's broken, the system's broken, the system's broken, it is because the family is broken. You see, when they intervened to save little Zane and Quentin, they're not moving in the damn house. And even if they show up to do a visit, people can just go right back to normal right after. They decided to do their own thing against what the state of Georgia was telling them.
For Ms. Simon.
Well, she is not exactly doing all the right moves to garner said sympathy if that's what she's looking for. Unfortunately, her statement has made her look more entitled as opposed to as someone who is really struggling with the death of their child. So I do question her mental health. It could be a situation where she is a sociopath. We don't know, but I'm sure we're going to learn more very quickly as this case starts to unfold.
Oh, we got it. We got an ear and an eye and a belly full of it. She's still blaming Danny. She takes no responsibility, no accountability, no nothing. All right, so phone calls from prison. This is what she said before the murder conviction. Some of you might have already heard that. That's okay. But she has got some nerve, my friends. Great channel, by the way.
Hey.
Hey,
How are you doing?
everybody keeps asking me that, and I guess the truthful answer is I don't know.
I get that. I get that totally. Because I don't know how I'm doing every day either.
Okay, again, we got a problem. We got a problem. So yes, I have to put my commentary in here for fair use. Leilani, looking great in that mugshot, says everybody just keeps asking how I'm doing. Like, I'm so tired of it. It's like everybody just keeps asking me. Billie's like, I don't know how I'm doing every day. Well, let's go back to Old Yellow on Court TV that said, well, you're not in the landfill, so in that family, you're doing pretty damn good. Always about them.
No, I don't know. I know that what's coming is going to come, and I need to stay busy until this appeal comes, and that'll be a year in the making. So,
Yeah. Wow. They, I feel like you were set up to believe that you wouldn't be charged, that they wouldn't find you guilty. And it aggravates me with that Hilliard guy. Me and him just do not get along.
what?
That Hilliard guy, your attorney,
Y'all two just clash.
horribly bad.
I don't know what it is. He doesn't know what it is. Y'all two both tend to think that the other is just an asshole.
Wow. I maybe was an asshole whenever I heard that on Court TV. I got so scared.
Yeah, well, I did speak to him, and I told him that if he does any more interviews, I don't care as long as he just avoids any commentary about my other two kids.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to get. I was like, what is this guy thinking?
Yeah, so he
Oh
thought
my
about that.
gosh.
He said that he did say to the that he wasn't completely sure on
He
the.
did say that, but even putting that thought out there to people, man, all I could think about is keep your ass in the house, Billy, because people gonna follow you, and
Yeah, but he said
I've been worried about that.
Okay, again, because her attorney was asked a question about the other two children, he said, I think they're with Billie. They're not with Billie. Now listen to Billie again. Billie, who's not in the landfill, Billie's living her life. Billie's doing great. Billie's free. She can do whatever she wants to do. They've sold the house. They've moved. I'm thinking, Oh, now every time Billie goes somewhere, people going to be following me around. Well, call the police. Something that should have been done when Quentin went missing.
I'm scared about that the whole time.
Yeah, like he said, he's
Yeah.
going to be working to remedy that, and that if he does do more interviews, which he probably will, and honestly, he's doing it on my behalf.
I know he is. I know he is because I listened to the rest of the interview. But I got message after message after message after message, and I was just like, oh my God, what just happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
but
freaked out. I did freak
So, yeah,
out.
but I told him. Yeah, but I told him, I said, I don't care if you do the interviews because honestly, I'm not going to do it.
I felt like he put our family in harm's way.
Yeah, but I told him, I said, I don't care if you do the interviews because honestly, I'm not going to do it. I'm tired of the media. I'm tired of the camera.
I'm tired of the media too.
I'm tired of the camera being in front of my face. It was in front of my face for 2 solid weeks.
Well, I do to ask him. I mean, if they were able to protect the Steelers, then they can do that for our family at sentencing.
Well, see, that's not the attorney's decision. It's the judge's decision. But now, listen, I didn't ask him to request that if they couldn't just turn the cameras off, maybe they could bleep out y'all's names and blur your faces.
Well, I mean, it would be best if they could, I mean, the whole reason we didn't come and the whole reason Vernon came was because I begged Vernon to please go, And I didn't have to, don't think I had to beg him a lot because he felt bad any day he couldn't go, but some days it was just hard on him sitting on that bench.
Oh, I understand that, but this is what I requested him. I said if they say no to turning the cameras off, can we just bleep out my family members' names and blur their faces so that way they are not recognized after they leave?
Well, I'll be recognized because I'm going to say, I already know what I'm going to say because you're the best, absolutely best person in the world to be around when you're sober.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But I also told him that
Y'all's daughter, yes, you put yourself in the media due to your actions. Billie, most people wouldn't have paid attention to you. They would have been extremely sympathetic to you. But when things were found out, which weren't too hard to figure out in the beginning, but some people are slow effing learners. When this came out, that's when we're like, what's going to happen to old Billie?
What did I say? You made me lose my train of thought.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I went back and I looked at some of the messages from 2 years ago and stuff like that, and I'm like, my God, what was I even saying?
Yeah. Some of the text messages they brought up, some text messages between me and Daniel, me and Craig, or whatever. Mama, I didn't remember those.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, there's a video? Please tell me they're not going to show this video. Please tell me they're not going to.
Yeah, I know. I get that.
Leilani, I'm lazy. You're not in jail because of text messages. That's part of building the case. Wanda's sister is in the same cell as Leilani. Wanda, anytime you would like to come on panel or talk to us about this, I totally understand if you don't. I would love to hear it, what you know.
But let me see. I was going to say something. It'll come back to me when we're not on the phone. Watch.
I know. I hate that.
Something. I don't know. I'm just wanting him to blur. Oh, okay. Here it is.
I do want you, whenever you get a chance, to tell him that I do apologize for calling in a rant. I was just so afraid in that moment.
Yes, and I will.
I was more afraid for my grandchildren than anything.
He knows of the media. He said that the media was even hard on him because of him defending me.
Yeah, they were.
But
Yeah. So, and even whenever I seen him that day, I was shaking in my shoes. I was like waiting for this paparazzi to pop around the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remembered. So I told him, I said, I guess one of the reasons.
Oh, dear goodness. I'm just waiting on the paparazzi to pop around the corner. Okay, Billy Kardashian. Okay.
You could express to the judge about wanting the cameras either off or to bleep and blur the faces of my family members is because a lot of the people who might come and be a character witness is all have some type of minors in the home with them, little kids, and we don't want the media approaching y'all or any crazy haired true crime YouTuber, you know, in front of these children.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do want to protect all of them.
Yeah,
All
this
of them.
isn't just, I told him, I said, it's not just my fear about Zane and Sky. I said, my Aunt Jackie has a whole bunch of grandbabies. She watches all the time, you know.
And Angie does too.
And Andrew does too. And I said, and then, Meemaw people are just too old to handle the stress of the media and people possibly coming and knocking on their door. And if they do research into Meemaw people, they realize that these are the people who lived right across the house from what happened in Effingham.
Yeah, they brought all that up.
You know, so that's why I'm hoping that maybe if Aunt Jackie communicates with Hilliard and you communicate with Purse, y'all can make something happen.
Yeah, I think
He's
James
gonna request all this. He can request it. He's gonna ask for it. He's gonna file a motion for it. But it's up to the judge.
Well, it would be, you know, I have severe PTSD. Whenever I'm out in public and somebody picks up the phone, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been to Walmart. I like.
Oh, she likes Walmart. She has PTSD anytime somebody grabs their phone. Well, what in the hell? People are always grabbing their phone. I have PTSD every time I see somebody grab their phone. Try Instacart, you fucking idiot. Try that. What are you doing out there showing your ass if you're that worried about it? You obviously didn't make a good impression. Again, going back to Old Yeller on Court TV. That said, but at least you're not in a landfill. So who are you to complain?
I like going to Walmart, but Walmart is too busy. The Piggly Wiggly here is expensive, but it's empty. Nobody's there.
Yeah. And then I had this crazy idea, and I know you're probably not gonna do it, but it is a little funny. I was like, just buy everybody wigs and give them a face mask.
Yeah.
You know, bring them on in.
Yeah.
How funny!
It's not you or the case or Clinton that we want to hide from. You know what I mean? People are crazy, Leilani. I just never realized how cruel and insensitive and awful people are. You know, like, you know, I make friends everywhere. Everywhere I go, I make friends. You know?
You do.
And
that's just how you are. You have a very magnetic personality.
And I just don't. I mean, I've never.
Billie makes friends everywhere she goes, but now she has PTSD if someone grabs their phone. Well, she didn't make friends with Quentin.
Dealt with like that kind of hate and you know, so it's very traumatizing to me. You know, good God, girl.
I get it. And my attorney, when he called me, you know, he said, do not take this lightly because I normally don't get personal in cases or whatever. And I'm almost directly quoting him, by the way. So he said, I do not normally get personal in cases. He said, but I truly believe that you're innocent. And he said, I do not know Leilani from 2 years ago, but I know the one from now. And you have a good heart and a good soul. This made me cry.
And you do, Leilani. I know, I don't know how many times I told you that you're like the best person in the world sober. Like everything about you changes.
Yeah, but like it really hurt my it didn't hurt my feelings.
Okay, we spoke about this yesterday. If you missed it, we did a show about Lindsay Clancy, the one that is charged with murdering her 3 children because of postpartum depression. I had a real nasty comment from someone saying, but it's insanity. This is a case of insanity because of all the different medications she was on and everything. Listen, as adults, we should know how to control ourselves. All right? Then you have Billie saying you do have the best heart when you're sober. Okay. Well, so she should get a free pass, which isn't going to happen now because she was doing rugs? No. Because she doesn't want to work? No.
Got to me though, because for the longest time, for 2 years, I'm sitting here like, am I really that horrible of a person?
I know. And you're not. You're not lying. I don't know what happened. And I don't think the world knows what happened. I don't think anybody got any answers out of any of that.
No, nobody.
And honestly, I was really surprised at the 3 murder charges.
Yeah, me too. But because like my attorney said, he said I got convicted on speculation. There was literally too much reason about conflicting evidence and then no direct evidence. He said there's no reason other than that these people fell for the DA's trap, got their emotions involved, and what the speculation was just too horrible to ignore.
Yeah. I love
But
him so much, and I miss him so much.
I love you too. But he also said that not even 24 hours after the trial, he had attorneys contacting him, civilians, strangers, friends, and family, all saying that I thought this woman was guilty for 2 years, and now I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
You know, and
I feel like the judge was biased. I feel like she didn't, honestly and truthfully, I think it was 100% wrong of them to be able to change the indictment.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never watched a trial. I don't know if this happens all the time. I mean, I have no idea, but what in the world?
Yeah.
You can change the wording in the indictment so you can get a guilty conviction.
Pretty much. I don't know. I didn't understand all that. I understood a little bit of what was going on, but I mean, I didn't understand a lot of really anything. I just know that I had written down the evidence that they don't have, and then there's speculation that doesn't have anything to back it up. And I was
Well, I want you to think about this whenever sentencing comes up. I want you to think about because you went through the trial with confidence.
yes, I tried. I tried to I didn't really feel confident, but I did try to appear confident.
Well, you appeared that way, and everybody, of course, everybody had something to say whenever you got all the guilty verdicts. And, oh, did you see how rampant her breathing was? And did you see, that was the first time I've seen any kind of real emotion with her. She's so selfish. Da, 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 da. That's why I told Jenna to tell you, do not cry whenever you go in there. You go in there and you hold your head up, and you take whatever they're going to give you.
I couldn't. I tried to keep myself from crying, just like I tried to keep myself from crying when the first day of trial. I was breaking down up there the first day of trial.
Yeah, well, that's feeling. Yeah, no emotion at all whenever she saw her son. No emotion at all whenever, I'm like, my God. And who was it that was saying something to me about it? I was like, you know what? If she would have cried, they'd have had something to say about that too. It doesn't matter what you've done up there. It doesn't matter
There are
how
60
you acted.
seconds remaining.
They were going to put how they felt. Right. Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. Like if I cried, Mom, they would have said I'm faking it.
Yep.
If I didn't cry, I was detached.
Yeah.
So the whole time I'm trying to show no reaction, and I had a couple of tears slip throughout the trial, and I had to fight to get myself under control. At the beginning of trial, I was so overwhelmed I couldn't help
And
but
I know
cry.
you come. I know you come back, and the days you come back, you cried. You upset. I know that. I know that. But you know,
Days I came back, I was devastated at the stuff that I've seen. You know, I was just overwhelmed with it.
There are 15 seconds remaining.
can you call me back?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Because we haven't talked enough. This is, yeah.
I know. I'll call you back.
So I did call and try to talk to your counselor, but she never called me back.
She has
Goodbye.
Okay.
Hey.
I'll be honest with you. I was really surprised, and everybody was really surprised that I wasn't called on the witness stand.
Well, see, I think you would have been if the judge didn't deem yours and my issues or struggles in our relationship inadmissible. And since you weren't at the house,
I know it hurt my feelings that you said that you had to pick me up off the ground from ODing.
no, that's not even what was said. So they left out the part where I said, I'm pretty sure that was a dream I had when I was a kid, but it stuck with me. Yeah, that was at the end, and they cut it off. If you go back and look, they cut it off where I said and then it was just cut off.
Okay. Well, I'm like, my God, I don't think Leilani's ever seen me in like a truly drug-induced freaking stupor. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
they cut
Like,
that off, and I leaned over to my attorney. I said they really just cut off where I said, and I'm pretty sure that was a dream, but it stuck with me. But yeah, that got on my nerves that they cut that off. I was like, seriously?
yeah. Well,
Her feelings were hurt. Her feelings were hurt. Again, I go back to old Yeller on court TV. Well, as far as his family goes, if you didn't wind up in a landfill, you're doing good today on a Wednesday. Feelings.
I feel like, I feel like they failed y'all whenever it comes to them doing the hotel room. I felt like that failed y'all miserably, both of y'all, because I feel like if that room was going to be bugged, neither one of y'all should have known about it.
Right, but I had to tell my attorney. I said in that room when he was questioning me, I said I decided to question him about 6 a.m. I didn't know anything about the 3 a.m. thing, Mom, until court or until trial. I didn't know nothing about that. But the 6 a.m. that's what he told me when I called him. So when he was questioning me, I decided to question him about why he keeps telling me that he did see him, but then he turned around and originally told the police that he did, and then said that he wasn't sure, and he said that I was just trying to save my own ass. So I had my attorney go up there and ask Agent Solomon, who was the one, Savannah was the one who monitored it, if she recalled hearing that. She said, yes, I did recall hearing something like that.
I mean, who's to say you didn't come back and go to bed and Danny didn't get up and leave with the car and you left your phone in the car?
That is a possibility, and I even told my judge that. I think that was one of the speculations that I told the police, and they didn't show that interview either. I said, you can ask my family and stuff. I said, I do normally keep my phone on me, but if it's dead or close to
I can't
dead.
never get you to answer the phone. What you talking about?
But I said, but if it was dead or close to dead, or I would just leave it in the house.
Your phone's always dead.
Yeah, this is what I was telling them, though. I was like, if I was in the house or whatever, I would.
Why are they rehashing shit that's evidence? She goes, your phone's always dead. Her phone's certainly dead right now unless she calls somewhere collect. Always the victim, these two. Not one tear for Quentin.
Would leave it, or I would leave it in the car and get it out the next day. I said that was very common with me, and that was because I was high all the time. I wasn't worried about that damn phone.
No, I didn't either.
I
In my time, I couldn't stand for the phone to ring.
Yeah, no, I get paranoid when somebody calls me. I'm like, oh my God, are they going to hear that I'm all stuffed up? Or like, am I going to talk too fast? Or, you know. So like, I didn't care about that phone. But
I just hope that
I
I
believe that the defense
100%. I just hope that 100% you know and believe in your heart that drugs cost every bit of this. That this is what drugs do.
this is the core of it. Yes, it's the core of it. But I do believe my attorney.
Leilani, this would have never happened if y'all weren't high.
I know.
Never.
But like I said, that's the core of it. I believe that. I do, and I'm good with. I'm
Okay, I want to address something from the chat. I'm not going to put it on the screen because I'm not picking on this person. I kind of feel I need to defend myself a little bit when it's, you know, Leilani's in jail. She's been found guilty. Who cares what she says? I care. Now, when it comes to Letitia Stout, I don't. I know there's plenty of phone calls of hers out there. I don't go through it. Nope. I don't go down Letitia Lane because Gannon has a mama and a daddy that wants her to rot and get no attention. However, with Leilani, I think there is more accountability to be had. So I will talk about it. We know one and one only killed Gannon. And I'm not saying anyone else is responsible for Quentin's murder, but I feel like there's more accountability in that circle that needs to be put out.
I'm good on that. But I do believe my attorney's speculation because nobody could explain the vomit in that playpen, Mama. And it was red, so that was from that night because we had spaghetti.
Did she think Danny crawled in the playpen and threw up? No. He said we had spaghetti. She said no one can explain it. Yeah, they can. I heard the GBI agent. When you get a head injury, it becomes nauseating. We know there was bones on the top of his head that were, I'll just say, interrupted. One of the forensics experts explained, you break a bone while you're alive. It's going to instantly start trying to grow back together. This was a head injury. She went and laid him back down. He was sick at his stomach. He threw up. She's like, it's red. Nobody can explain it, Mama. They did explain it. To the point I can't look at spaghetti again. I can't look at it. To think about him laying there moaning. Danny's downstairs high. Paul's not home yet. So it's basically lie lazy, walking back and forth, thinking, is he going to go sleep? Is he going to die? She grabs him. This is all court record. So I got to figure out what to do because she knows at this point she's done something she can't turn back from. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to the ER and get him some help? Open up a police investigation? Or just think no one's ever going to miss him? But listen to her. It was red. We had spaghetti. Well, I didn't expect it to be green. I didn't expect it to be green. They explained what happens when someone has a head injury and how it affects nausea. They even explained why someone with a head injury should not go to sleep. They should be kept awake.
Yeah. But nobody could explain that. And then Daniel saying, apparently to the police in his initial interviews, that he had got up at 3 a.m. to feed Sky, that he deliberately glanced inside the playpen and seen Quentin there. My attorney thinks that he realized something was wrong, stayed up until it was time to go to work, messaged the babysitter during his panic or whatever, and just put him in one of the residential trash cans on the way to work, which would have gone to the same exact place that they said they found him.
I don't know, Leilani, but I know him.
You want to get a load of that? She said he said at 3 a.m. he purposely glanced in there. She's like, so he just grabbed him on the way to work and threw him into one of those residential trash cans without even a tear in her eye, any sort of break in her voice. You know, like when we get real upset and like we can't get the words out. She's saying this fluidly because she wants to believe her own lie. It was all proven in court.
I'm heartbroken over it.
I'm heartbroken over it too. But finally
Because
having some type of
Quentin
faith.
he didn't deserve any of that.
No, he didn't. But finally having some type of theory that just, I don't know, to me rings true and makes sense. I did feel some type of closure from that when I first heard him say that. And I was just like, you know, that's a possibility. You know, because I never changed the last time. I never changed
I
the
don't
last time that I
understand.
saw him.
I don't understand why Hilliard didn't bring anybody up on your side, any witnesses for you. He didn't, you know, I mean.
It was because it wasn't the defense's burden to come up with the proof. And anybody
Yeah,
he would have, and anybody he would have called, anybody he would have.
Dumb and dumber. Dumb and dumber. It's like a gray goose, and I don't mean the drink. Like she just woke up. She goes, I know, Mom. I know, Mom. But it's not the defense's job to bring up any proof. No shit. Think about when you watch football. It's not the defense's job to throw the fucking ball. You idiot. Margie said, laughing my ass off, Billie said, I love Quentin. I miss him so much. But Leilani thought she was talking to her. Yeah, nobody's loving her. If I was Billie, I would have corrected her and been like, no, girl, I'm not talking to you. I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Quentin. But she skated right over that because Quentin is a topic you don't talk about around them.
Would have called would have just been family. And everybody probably would have taken that with a grain of salt. I don't have friends. Who are they going to call?
You were going to Mama and Vernon's house 3 times a week.
I was going up there. I was going up there very often, trying to be helpful to them, and you know.
Wow, I mean, I just.
Well, Hilliard won't be the one doing the appeal. I mean, he's going to file the appeal, but then because they know attorneys who file appeals normally don't do their own appeals because they might not see where they did something wrong or should have done something or didn't do something right. So he's going to pick another attorney, an attorney who's not in it for the publicity. I think I know who it's going to be. But to take over.
You need that attorney that Quentin had.
Huh?
And you need the attorney Quentin had.
Okay, she's not talking about Quentin, baby Quentin, that was found in the landfill. She's talking about Quentin, her son, Billie's son, that's also in jail. And since old Lilazy got her GED, she's like Judge friggin' Judy. You see, we got to find someone, Mom, you know, that's not in it for the publicity. We already heard Billie saying, oh, she freaks out. She got PTSD when someone grabs her phone. She's afraid paparazzi's going to come around any corner, anytime. She goes, you need the attorney that Quentin had. Well, what good did that do Quentin? Not baby Quentin, Leilani's older brother. He's not going anywhere either. Is Billie not tired of these collect damn phone calls and paparazzi?
You tell him to go back and look and see. I can't remember that guy's name, but.
Well, this is I think this attorney, she has very
This is a pro bono attorney.
So this attorney has a very good reputation. She even came to the trial to be there for me and spoke to me in between breaks and stuff. It's either he chooses or the judge just appoints a random attorney. So I prefer somebody to be chosen that he trusts, because even though you and Hilliard don't get along well, he really did do a good job defending me.
I don't know why we don't get along well. I don't know what, I mean, he, and Leilani, whenever I tell you that man, I mean, he spoke to me in a way that Vernon was getting pissed off because I was sitting there shaking.
I can tell you why Billie was getting mad. I can tell you why. Because Hilliard wanted that hot mess that we know as Billy Joe Howell to take the stand, because he was hoping that hot mess would pull some heartstrings with at least somebody on the jury. And she didn't want to do it. I don't know why he doesn't, because you're not doing what he wants. He's the attorney. You didn't show up to court. He wanted you on the stand, but he didn't go through everything he needed to do to subpoena you. He was hoping you would do it voluntarily. Because if they have to subpoena, as we all know, because we follow true crime, if you have to subpoena a witness, they're not very cooperative. Some are downright hostile, to the point where the judge just says, hostile witness, go. They're not helping anything.
I mean, he had to see I was a freaking nervous wreck.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know.
It was starting to make me feel like, damn, I wonder what Leilani has said to this attorney about me.
And see, that's the thing. I haven't said nothing besides, like, you're the only person who has been supportive through all of this. I did say I believe that you doubted me for a very long time.
Oh, I just know that, honestly, I doubted both of you. You and Danny.
Yeah, but that's I did tell him that though, and that's true. That's how I felt for a long time. So I really feel like she's doubting me, that she's doing her best to still be supportive and open minded and stuff like that. So, but we never really had deep conversations.
Here's another fun fact. This one actually is just in my opinion, because I don't know this family, don't want to be part of this family, wouldn't sit down at their nasty Thanksgiving table. The only reason Billie is so supportive of her son, Quentin, her son, not grandson, that went to jail for killing her boyfriend and keeping him on her good side, because she didn't want to be charged with accessory. Only reason she's so supportive of Leilani is because she didn't want any charges over this. The maternal grandmother failed to provide adequate supervision for the child Zane by leaving the child Zane in the home in the care of the mother, a person the maternal grandmother knew or should have known was unfit to provide proper care while the maternal grandmother traveled out of state. None of this has to do with her maternal instinct, my friends. Mic drop.
About you. I mean, he had asked what was going on with the kids, and I told him that we have a game plan, but we never went into detail about a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to get in touch with Barrick ever since the verdict, and he hadn't called me one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, Leilani, I can probably get everybody in the family to go up there and to speak on your behalf, but I think it's probably best that I stay out of it. Because no matter what I say or do, it's not going to be taken with any kind of credibility.
It might not. And
Why? Why, Billie? I can get the family up there to say some words about you, but nothing I'm going to say is going to be taken with any kind of credibility. Why? Why, Billie? Why are you saying that nobody on that jury is going to believe you? Why do you say the paparazzi's after you? Why do you have PTSD when you're in public and someone grabs the phone? You got what's called the guilt itch. You're carrying a lot of guilt there, girlfriend. You're carrying a lot of guilt. You got a son in jail for shooting your boyfriend. You got a daughter in jail for killing your grandson. And you were deeply involved in each case. If they had put her on the stand, the state of Georgia would have roasted Billie. Hands down, they would have.
But I think that you should get the opinion of first before you make that decision.
Yeah. I like him.
Yeah, I would say
With his
speak to
old,
him. They give you his
with his old little silly bow tie.
his little bow tie and his big old ears.
He got, oh, I couldn't tell his ears were big. I just, everybody talked about his bow tie and how they liked him.
Yeah, well, I would lean over every day. I'd be like, so how many bow ties do you have? Because, like, every day you're wearing a different bow tie.
Yeah.
And that was just me trying to not focus on
I do want you to know how great of a person you are. Leilani, being sober is so you. It is. You are just, you're so freaking smart. It pisses me off. You're so smart. I have to ask you how to spell words.
well, this might...
And you're beautiful.
Thank you. This might assure you a little bit that I do and have for a long time had a kind of game plan for if I did end up having to go to prison either for a short period of time or for a very long time. But I do plan on trying to get enrolled into some type of college classes, depending on what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll keep me busy. And also being there, I'll probably be able to do some type of actual substance abuse. Get a certificate in that. That'd be cool, right?
Absolutely.
Climbing those ladders. Look at Leilani go. Behind bars, she wants to get a certificate in helping people with substance abuse. She already got a GED. She said she wanted to be a lawyer to defend herself. Hey, whatever. It's all on the state of Georgia's dime. But now here we get to what she says after sentencing. Demeanor's a little different this time because now we're using words like she was railroaded. Again, this is from phone.
Hey, lady, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
Not bad, not bad. I'm at work, but that's okay. Tomorrow's the big day, huh?
Yeah, got a lot going on. I'm ready to get it over with at this point.
You're right. Yeah. Well, just remember, I mean, if something bad happens, there's always, I'll get with your mom, and we can get with, I think there's a project called the Innocence Project, that we can get in touch with. I know they do a lot of cases down in Georgia. I already kind of looked into it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, well, I also know that they say I got a strong appeal, so.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you're testing me, big guy. I'm looking straight up at the ceiling. Wish I could see the sky. I can't imagine how baby Jesus feels when he hears these things. You notice there's no anxiety in her voice? If anyone's familiar with the Innocence Project, they cling to it. And it's because they are innocent. They need their help. She's kind of like, okay, but I have a strong appeal coming up. What would be better? Waiting 10 years for your appeal? Because trust me, Home Skillet, you're on the back burner in Georgia. Or the Innocence Project coming in saying this wasn't allowed, 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 she needs a new trial. They're not going to help you, lie lazy. They stroll into Chatham County and they get the entire case file. They're going to say, nope, stop, reverse, out of town. Too bad.
Well, I watched all the trials, and I don't see how that jury found you guilty with the malice. You know what I mean? There's no, yeah. But anyway, how have you been?
Other than being in near isolation for 2 years, I'm all right.
Have they kept you in isolation? You've been like by yourself?
I'm a high profile.
Oh my gosh!
So
yes.
Oh, just how precious is this? I'm a high profile prisoner, so they have to keep me here. He's like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. High profile. She's right up there with Menendez and O.J. Simpson. Bitch wishes she was Casey Anthony.
They have me, there's only one other high profile PC. We're in separate cells. We're allowed to come out separately for like an hour and a half each day.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Other
so
than that,
sorry.
that's why I say near isolation.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. That alone. I spent 3 months in the hole one time. Not just recently, but like back in 2001 when I went to prison. I went to prison for 4 years back in 2001. And they kept me in the hole for 3 months, and it drove me nuts. I was like, man, I don't know how you guys do it. You know what I mean? For years at a time.
Yeah, no, like I have nothing to do. Like we have no TV back here. I can't have phone necessary. We can't even order radios. We have to pay on the tablet to use the tablet.
Man, I wish I'd have known that. I would have got you. Yeah, I would have, you know what I mean? You can't even order commissary?
I can order hygiene and clothes and like pins and
Oh my gosh. If I'd have known that, I would have sent you, because I got an option on to set you up with a tablet subscription or something, it said. If I'd have known that, I would have did that.
Yeah, it's a gold pass thing or whatever.
Yeah.
We can use the tablet for free 15 minutes when we first get it out. Other than that, it's like $1 for every hour.
Yeah, well, I would have, you know what I mean? I was thinking that you could get commissary. That's why I sent you some money, you know what I mean? Cash, thinking that you could get you some.
I can get clothes. I just can't get
Right on, yeah.
food.
Right, yeah, and that's what a person wants in there. How do they feed you in there? Is it junk? I bet it's garbage.
Well, the food, actually last night we had chicken, and chicken's the only good thing that they have here, but
Yeah,
the officers treat me pretty good, actually.
good deal. That's good.
Okay, so you've been in the system, obviously. You dealt with
Yes.
So I have a question for you.
All right, what's up? I'll have an answer for you.
Do you think it's weird for a DA to offer a plea deal after he already won?
To offer you a plea after you already won.
Mm-hmm.
He already, yeah, that is very weird. If you.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen. No DA is going to win a trial. Now, they might offer a plea agreement before closing arguments and sentencing. Hey, what's up? Got a secret? That did not happen. She can't help herself. I can tell you that right now. She can't stop lying. For her, if she's talking to someone on the phone and she gets a couple of giggles or whatever, and she thinks somebody believes her, she's okay. That DA did no such thing. We watched the entire trial. Now, plea agreements are offered sometimes during the trial. You've already got a jury saying guilty. Goodness, like what, 19 plus counts? You think he's going to go in and say, well, looks like I proved my point, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a deal? Nope.
If you accept a plea deal, you're giving up your right to an appeal.
Thank you. See, that's where
Yes.
my mind went to. And I'm thinking that after whatever juror, I know it was the 4-person, did an interview with WTOC, that's when the plea deal came afterwards. I'm guessing whatever.
Well, I'm telling you, what did she say?
She was talking about the deliberation, how they were trying to figure out how it was innocent, how certain things were worded that made it very hard to give an innocent verdict, all types of stuff that originally it was.
Yeah, you got to go. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I watched the entire, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. I watched the entire thing. I spent hours on YouTube watching your entire, you know what I mean? And you've got definitely a good appeal. There's no way they should have found you. Definitely alone. The whole.
Hold on. Is this the same dude that's an RSO that goes to Dunkin' Donuts all the time? I watched the whole trial and I know you've got a good appeal. Stop it. Stop it now. Just because you set up with the tablet and she's probably sending you some sexy poses from the jail cell, you don't really need to go at her ego anymore. Remember Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman? Richard Gere ordered the champagne and the strawberries, and she goes, no, I'm a sure thing. You don't have to do all this. Leilani's a sure thing, dude. You don't need to stroke that ego.
I ain't gonna say appeal on all of them. I don't want to get your hopes up, but that malice charge, there is no way that jury should have came back with a guilty verdict on malice. Malice, you got to prove first off that there was a murder.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And they couldn't, and they never even proved. Yes, they didn't even prove that. Never, not once. So I thought, that's what I even told your mom. I was like, well, you know what I mean? As soon as the verdict back, she was like, the verdict's already. I was like, oh my gosh, how did you know what I mean? There's no way. So that's definitely going to get beat. But when I say that,
my attorney said that it was probably going to be the first 3 charges will at least definitely be overturned. He said the 4th is a possibility and the 5th is a possibility.
all right. Well, like I said, don't get your hopes up. And I'm sure he's told you, and I'm sure you know, it takes time. I mean, it's not going to be, you know what I mean, you go do another year and you're done. I mean, it does take time. I mean, unfortunately.
Yeah, he said that it'd be
Okay.
at least, he said it'd be at least 9 to 12 months for it to be,
Okay.
the appeal to be heard. He said at most a year and a half. He said, so
Okay.
he said, be prepared to do another.
Obviously, her boyfriend, her prison pen pal that puts money on her books, doesn't quite understand. Good morning, Sal. Sal Lady made it in. Doesn't quite understand malice. Malice. The malice, which was explained in the trial, but he said he watched every bit of it, is a fact that Quentin was put in a dumpster. As they said, after they found Quentin, and certain snippets started coming out, and they said, it's a very messy scene. There's tissue over here, a baby tooth over here, part of a scalp over here. That's the malice. You don't really have to prove what happened when a team from Quantico, Virginia spends 5 weeks in a landfill looking for a baby.
Another year and a half. I was like, okay.
All right. Yeah, I just didn't want you to have, you know what I mean? Because I you know what I mean, you're young and everybody likes to think that the system's, you know, not broken, but the system is broken, man. And to be honest with you, I've known a few people that were innocent, and the system's even broker for innocent people. You know what I mean? I hate to say, and I'm not trying to be a bearer of bad news. I just want you to, you know what I mean, to know, you know what I mean, it's still a long haul.
Oh yeah, I know it is. I'm just ready for this part to start. But like I said, I found that very odd that he would make a.
Yes, that is very odd, and he did it because then you're giving up your right to an appeal.
Which
and don't do it. Don't accept it.
I'm not.
I mean,
because like
not
all
unless
he's offering.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Not unless he's offering you something sweet. He's offering you what?
30 with parole. But here's the thing: with my charges in the state of Georgia, I would be eligible, yes, but I would never be granted it.
Hang on. He offered you what?
30 with parole. That's 30 is life.
30. Oh, 30. Yeah. Okay. So 30. So you're still getting life with the possibility of parole. Yeah. No way.
I wouldn't even get parole to begin with if I pleaded guilty to those charges.
Yeah. No. Then you're dependent on the poll vote. No. You've got an excellent appeal case, man. I mean, and I wouldn't say that if it wasn't so. I'm not. You know, what I mean, I would be perfectly blunt with you. I watched the entire trial, and there is no way.
This is not. I even did research, and I was like, well, on Law Library, it says that for my situation, it would be, in legal terms, the verdict is against the weight of the evidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They never even proved. First off, the malice one definitely is getting overturned because, like I said, they never even proved there was a murder.
So that means,
you know what I mean?
Since they never proved that, then there's 1, 2, and 3 should be gone out the window.
I can't remember all the situation, but I know the malice when there's no way. I even told my buddy, you know what I mean, because I kind of mentioned it, you know what I mean, because I was kind of like stressed out for you. So I told one of my buddies about it, and I was like, well, on a good note, they're not going to get her for malice, you know what I mean?
They have me for malice and then felony first degree and felony second degree. But since they didn't,
And how did they? And they never even proved there was a murder. I mean, if they wanted to get you for
exactly, so how could those
Right.
first 3 charges be?
they're going to have to be overturned. I mean, if you take that before the Supreme Court, they're going to have to overturn that.
And then when it comes to the 4th charge, here's the thing: they never proved the time. So if y'all didn't prove the time, and Daniel claimed that he saw my kid after
Right.
that
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
how can y'all say for a fact, without reasonable doubt, that what the state said is how it happened?
You can't. You got shafted. I mean, I'm not. You know what I mean?
They railroaded me.
Yes, they did. I agree. I agree. Like I said, I watched the whole thing. I agree, 100%.
Yeah, and I was even telling my attorneys, I was like, do you know how many days I was awake that week? I said, I don't even think I lied to them. I think I was just getting a whole bunch of days mixed up that week, and it was just really confusing.
Yeah.
I was like, when you get high, and I was like, I asked them, I said, did you ever do drugs? They said, no.
Right.
I said, I was on stimulants. Like, it kept me awake for days.
Yeah. Right.
I said, all days when you're awake like that start to kind of roll into one.
Time just runs together. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
You know, I was like, I was on
Yeah.
weed. Gutter Snipe said, my inner thoughts are illegal. Mine too. Everything's about her. Everything's about her. Yep. But you got a good appeal. You've got a good appeal. No, she doesn't. And John Grisham is not going to come in there with the Innocence Project and say, we got to get you out of here. I got to get you out of here. Jen 405 said, ugh, I entered the poll incorrectly. Girl, it happens to me all the time. You ought to see the emojis I send. I actually quit doing it. Too many people would come after me going, oh, you thought that was funny? Because I meant to hit the care emoji and they got the laughing emoji or however I did it. Don't worry about it. Never about Quentin. No accountability. No remorse.
Whatever. Hello. I don't think.
Right. Anything you could find. Right. Yeah. And that's a shame too.
It is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that was the case at the time. So I was like, I don't think I lied to them. I think I was getting confused and then twisted, and they just played on that.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. I mean, you got shafted. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, this is where she said she was railroaded because she got things twisted. Nobody gets put on the stand. Things do not get put into evidence. And this is a rare show for us because we're talking after the fact. But we're smart enough to know. Before it gets put before a jury, it's no longer hearsay. Now, reasonable doubt, that's different. That's the other side. They have to have evidence. So because Leilani gets a little anxious and got some things messed up, they have the evidence. When in any of these phone calls, even O.J. Simpson said he wants to find the real killer. All she wants to do is get out of jail. She doesn't care about justice for her son. But I mean, I guess in her mind, she would have zero problem with Danny going to jail for the rest of his life for something she knows he didn't do. Angel P said, but I bet the guards are real sweet to her, I bet. Oh, I bet they are. Ooh, I bet they are. They know who she is. They know how she gets down. They know that she likes Cheetos and colored pencils. Ooh, what would you do for a Klondike bar, Leilani in jail? We're going to have some prison phone calls soon. She's going to make Susan Smith blush.
Yeah, it was.
But I'm glad you're keeping your head about you. I was worried about you at first, you know what I mean, being stuck in your head and You know what I mean? Thinking silly thoughts.
I do get stuck in my head, and then I try to pull myself out of it because, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I can control that, but I can control
Yeah.
myself. So
Exactly. Yes.
I'm going to get a new appeal attorney, and I have a feeling, God be willing, that when this appeal comes, I might only have to do another year or two afterwards in order for the false statement charges.
Well, I pray to God, and I shouldn't speak on God's behalf. He doesn't like it when I help him out. I've tried to help God a few times, and what he does is he just sits me in my place real quick. Real quick. I'm sure we all know the feeling. But I'm going to say, safe to say, God isn't willing. She said, God willing, I'll spend a couple of more years. Most people would go out of their minds thinking about a couple of more years. Our girl Susan said, God called and said, keep my name out of your mouth. God willing, just a couple more years after my appeal. All right, so what are you going to do to find the person that killed Quentin? We don't talk about that.
Yeah, the false statement charges and wasn't there a couple others too that, you know what I mean? And I mean,
they were all false
worst
statements.
case.
There were 14 false statements.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of that
was there disposing of a body or something too? Was that one of them?
It was concealing the death of another. That's the one that I said that they said that I did this
That
at
might
such
stick.
time.
Yeah, that might stick. Yeah.
Well, I don't think
That
it
could be,
will.
and in my opinion, the false testimonies and that one right there are the only ones that they really got against you. The state even halfway proved. You know what I mean? And they didn't even prove it. But that's the only thing. Any logical jury. That's the only ones that any logical jury, if they went in there with the, you know what I mean, with the proper mindset and everything else, that's the only one they could have found you guilty on.
Yeah, and that's what got me though, because even then, there's no time of death, and there was conflicting evidence about him being seen at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. They said it was 1 a.m. So if that's the case, if it happened at 1 a.m., why would somebody say they saw him at 3 and at 6?
Right. Yeah. That's. Well, I mean, but the bottom line is they did prove that the body was disposed of. You know what I mean? And they kind of proved that it was your car there and they never proved that it was that dumpster that, you know what I mean? That dumpster that was, you know what I mean, where the baby.
Because my attorney said that they didn't cut off the landfill until 2 days after the report. Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's all kinds of reasonable doubt there, and that's what the jury just didn't keep in mind was the reasonable doubt.
Exactly. And
you know what I mean? They did not.
He said there was so much reason doubt and conflicting evidence when it came to Daniel that those first four charges it should not have been.
I thought your attorney did a great job. I really did. I mean, he was short and sweet with all the, you know what I mean? And yeah, I thought he did a great job. I just knew. I mean, if I was on that jury, all biasness aside, but you know what I mean, aside, I would have went with not guilty. I mean, there's no, you know what I mean? Yeah, they did not prove nothing.
Yeah, there's reasonable doubt for like all of it. So like
all of it, except for the false, you know what I mean? Maybe the, you know what I mean, the conflicting stories that you gave, which whatever, you know what I mean? So go do your little year or two for that, whatever, you know what I mean?
Right. And the thing is that some of those wasn't even conflicting. I just withheld what drugs I was on for as long as I could.
Right. Yeah.
Because I have a Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate myself. You think I'm gonna sit there and tell the FBI, well, I went up the road, grabbed some.
Right. Yeah. And that's all. Yeah.
Listen, Fifth Amendment goes out the window when they have evidence that you have done something to another person. If it was that easy, nobody would be in jail. Everybody would plead the Fifth. That's crazy. They don't even know what drugs I was on. Let me tell you what, they made sure she was sober as a judge all those times they brought her in. Got a secret, said, well, thank goodness you was not on that jury. Thank goodness I wasn't on there. Thank goodness we weren't on there. It's really not uncommon to bring someone down to the station that abuses substances. Okay? Breaking news. How come nobody on this phone call is coming unglued because a beautiful little boy was compacted, bulldozed, and what have you in the landfill. They're still splitting hairs over reasonable doubt. He's like, and the jury just didn't get reasonable doubt. No, the jury got common sense. That was God willing. Makes me shudder when she says, and God willing, I'll only get like a year or two for tampering with the corpse. Okay, so why would you tamper with the corpse if you have nothing to do with it? Why would you touch your son's body if you have nothing to do with it? But she's okay with that. A year or two for tampering with the corpse. You know that Jamie Foxx song, Blame It on the Alcohol? It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
But bottom line is, you did lie to him, and so what? Okay, so you got me on that, whatever. But yeah, I mean, now my question is, and what I don't know is, when you appeal it, do you have to take it before a jury again, or can you take it before a judge? And if you do have the option,
I think I can choose.
Okay, so this is where we get idiots. So can you take it in front of a jury, in front of a judge? Now, this mister thinks he knows everything. I don't follow appeals. I don't. Now, if someone's getting out of jail, like Susan Smith a few months ago, we went through that. No, there's no jury in appellate court because the jury's already decided. Appellate court is legals that know the law. I would rather roll my dice with a jury of people that didn't pay attention in 8th grade civics, as opposed to a bunch of legals that know the law. Just like I've never understood, guilty or innocent, of course I care, but why anybody would go for a bench trial, because you've got the judge deciding.
So see, what option do you go with?
And that's what I'm not sure about. Because, if I go in front of the judge would have to admit that she did something wrong.
Well, I think it would go in front of a whole different judge. I don't think it would go in front of the same judge. I think. If you appeal it, I think it goes, I don't know.
An appellate
or
judge?
Does it, yeah, an appellate judge, or do you take it all the way to the Supreme Court? I don't know how that, maybe Supreme Court's after you appeal and then you take it to the Supreme Court. I'm not real clear on all that.
I'm not sure on it either, but I think I'll get those answers when I get my appellant attorney. And my attorney
so your same attorney, that's right, I say your same attorney can appeal it?
He could, but most attorneys don't do their own appeals because another attorney might see where that attorney went wrong.
Okay, all right, yeah. Now, hey, was that a court-appointed attorney or was that a paid attorney?
Okay, so that's like an in-between. He's not a public defender, but he had.
Okay, so he has some pro bono
remaining.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Look at her trying to be all fancy. Oh, that's in between. He's not a public defender. He was for your case. It's part of the court record. Yes, it is. And when some people get confused about pro bono and public defender, Jose Baez was pro bono. He was not appointed by the court. The plethora of attorneys that Sarah Boone had were court appointed. Leilani, even though she thinks she pisses gold, everything inside lined with gold, has a great heart, everything when she's sober, that's wonderful. Aren't we all charming when we're sober? No, she definitely had a public defender. They are maddening. They are ridiculous. They drive me insane. Quentin was assaulted, physically assaulted, in the Buckhalter home. He was put in the pack and play where he threw up his spaghetti. Okay? She acts confused about that. Nobody can explain the vomit. Leilani is seen all over town. Leilani, we know that she was right at that traffic stop by the dumpster. They have the cameras. It was very hard to see, but it was enough for the authorities. Nobody's framing her. There is no corruption, nothing like that. I don't care if the entire town of Savannah ran a train on Billie and Leilani simultaneously. The evidence points to Leilani emmed her son and needs to be there. That's what I'm talking about, Gutter Snipe. Gutter Snipe said she thinks pro bono means she's pro boners. Well, we know she's pro boners. That's all she knows. That's all she knows. Disgusting. Disgusting people. And if I was her, I would cut this boyfriend loose, even though she's got nothing to do all day but wait for her next meal and phone call and a squirt of water to clean off her nasty ass. Goodness. Well, you got, hang on, Luke's mom, Brooks, when and where is the next crime con you're going to? Denver in September. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I appreciate everybody being here for Quentin, because as we know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on YouTube. I think it's been a great show, and I think we put this to rest. Did we not? Anyone feel bad for Lazy? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone think she was truly railroaded? No, not me. Nope. Well, I just know that we have an amazing channel here, an amazing group of friends, an amazing mod squad. And I just hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Cat OG said, never a cold enough day in hell. No, there is not. Woo! No, there is not. Well, I'm working on a little surprise for you guys this afternoon, something that I want you all to look at with me and mill over. So make sure you're subscribed. I know we have a lot of people in the bushes. Subscribe, hit your reminder on, because I'm not really good with these video premieres. So I don't know if it's going to show up at 3 in the afternoon, midnight, or in like 2 seconds after I do it. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here for the right reasons. And just keep being the awesome people you are. Love you.